Heavenly greetings to you all. Peace, mercy, grace, and love from God our Father to all men. Today is day 2 of Health Talk Week with the theme Food for the Body. So, day 2, we're going to talk about something special because yesterday we focused on our deity before sin. But today we're going to take a step further and consider something else. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 31 as our key text. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. And we'll be just moving around this same scripture, and the good Lord has something special to reveal. Even as you do anything today, right now, what you're doing, make sure, my brother and my sister, my brethren, that you're doing everything to the glory of God. Today, we have another title, which is Our Deity After Disobedience. Our Deity After Disobedience. Yesterday, we talked about our deity before sin, meaning the issue of everything, the Lord's deity, which was best, and then he committed it to man. He gave it to man, and man was privileged to do that. And we considered or focused on the issue that whatever the Lord did was there to make sure that man had the ability to fulfill or to do everything the Lord intended him to do. To have dominion, to reveal his image, and to reflect that good glory of the Almighty. So even deity was in that manner. Now, man had a condition as he lived in Eden. In that good garden, man was given that privilege. But there was a test for him. And we find that there was a tree planted amid the garden, and that tree was a tree of knowing, or the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So that tree was given or was placed in the garden so that man, like to test man and see whether he would obey the Lord God. Brothers and sisters, this is very special, and we won't go into details here. Our focus is after disobedience. So we find man doing something else, something contrary to what the Lord intended. So we're going to read Genesis chapter 3 verse 17 to 19 as our text for today. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said. So this is the time after Eve had been tempted, and he had already done something evil because he tasted or he ate the food which was forbidden. And after eating, she took also and gave or shared to her husband, and Adam also ate. And after Adam ate also, we find that Adam now and Eve, his wife, they were found naked. Sin had entered the world. And after sin had entered the world, the Lord came now. 3 verse 9, the Lord asked, where are you? They heard the footsteps of the God, of the coming God, and then they hid themselves. Then the Lord called, Adam, Adam, where art thou? Then Adam was like, Lord, we are naked. Then the Lord was like, Adam, who told you that you are naked? And everything happened there. Sin had already entered the world. Now, Romans chapter 6 verse 23, for the wages of sin is death. Meaning, when sin entered the world, death had entered the world. Things were disturbed. Things were now dismantled. Things were not in good condition because Satan had triumphed and man lost his dominance. Okay, let's read. And unto Adam now, the Lord came, and unto Adam now he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Let's take time here, brothers and sisters. The Lord now came and he cursed the ground because of Adam. Now, before sin, everything was okay, and man was given certain deity to help him fulfill the Lord's intentions, to help him do what he was required of to do. But now, after sin or after disobedience, the Lord came and he said, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Meaning, Adam was now to eat anything, to find something, to look for food in sorrow. So the Lord had placed this issue of labor on the earth to man, or to mankind. Now, let's read verse 18. Let's observe something. The Lord knew that man had sinned and something was wrong. What did he do? What did he decide to do concerning deity? Did he change anything after disobedience? Well, this is something interesting. Verse 18 says, thorns also and thistles shalt it bring forth to thee. So the ground shall bring forth to thee thistles and thorns. Meaning, you'll be laboring now. You'll be sweating in order to find food. You'll be working very hard. And mostly, let me say now, it is possible then that mostly you will be facing challenges as you'll be working just to find food. So mankind had lost that good environment we talked about yesterday, that nice atmosphere of having a life which is not mixed with sorrow, a life which is so pure and filled with goodness. Now listen to the Lord. Verse 18, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. This is interesting, brothers and sisters. Did God change the deity after man had disobeyed? The answer is no, because verse 18 says, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So the Lord came. Yes, he had cursed the ground. He had brought sorrow on earth, thorns, thistles, but he maintained something. He still said, man, please remain true to the plant-based diet. I like this statement. I like this. What kind of a God do we have? That creator. A God in a situation where even after we sinned, he still maintained what was best for man after sin. Verse 19 says, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. What manner of love is this? After doing everything, he touched the ground, he touched other things, but he still maintained the deity after disobedience. Brothers and sisters, this is the message for today. There is something special about this deity, such that even after we disobeyed, God himself came, and in love, he didn't take away the deity. Why? He knew what fuel was best for the body. He knew what would help man to live and fulfill his goodness. Allow me to say with divine authority that here the Lord revealed his love just by this statement, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field, regardless of disobedience, regardless of the wages of sin, which was death now on earth, regardless of sorrow, diseases, and other things which started happening. The Lord still maintained the deity, and he said, please eat these. Eat these. Eat the melons, eat the fruits, eat all those we talked about in the previous session. Brothers and sisters, allow me to share something special for you today. After we consider all this, I want to challenge you, or I want to tell you that no living being should overlook the fact that in the beginning God said to the man, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, as we talked about, as we said yesterday, every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. Don't overlook this. Even after disobedience, the Lord came and said same thing. Brothers and sisters, yes, even after Adam fell, as we have observed, even after he fell in sin and was driven out of the garden, after the earth brought forth thorns and thistles, his meat was still the herb. Was still the herb. And because of this, brothers and sisters, the only time, but maybe you ask yourself a question, but why do we eat these things today we are eating? It was after the flood, my friend, that he was permitted to use flesh food. And although he made use of only clean animal flesh, Leviticus chapter 11 is one of the scriptures we use. I think even Deuteronomy chapter 14, where God now is saying, no, eat these things. Even in Genesis chapter 9, the Lord also told them after the flood, the Lord, do not take blood, do not do this, do not, make sure all those guidelines he gave them. It was after the flood, and there was a reason for that, brothers and sisters. We'll try to understand everything in this Health Talk week. And after disobedience, we have seen that the Lord maintained the deity. He gave him the deity. Why is the question which troubles me. But after the flood, when sin was now increasing at a faster rate, it was increasing. Man was now doing something bad in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord now came and he said, I will destroy man whom I have created. And he repented that he had made man. So he sat and looked for a strategy. Which strategy? What am I going to do? And the Lord said, okay, because of this, because God is God who doesn't like sin, and the ultimate goal of everything here on earth is that God will destroy sin someday. He will terminate it. Regardless of what is happening today, the ultimate goal of sanctification, the ultimate goal of purification, the ultimate goal of righteousness, of justification and everything is removing sin on earth. That is why it is very important for you and I to focus on overcoming sin and Satan, so that as he will be removing, we may be found blameless and spotless. So God was like, because man has increased in the knowledge of evil, I have to destroy him. But what way? Then he used a special method. If you want to destroy a vehicle quickly, remove its fuel, add something else, add water, then you find that shortly it will stop working. Try to other things, a plant, stop watering it, or water it with something else, with acid, with other things. A plant will wilt and dry up. So now God also touched something. He said, Okay, even people kill themselves. If they want to die quickly, they just take a poison. Even God said, okay, the best way is to give man the wrong fuel. I'll give him wrong fuel so that something reduces. And when something is reduced, at least man won't be taking long living on earth. So when he was permitted to use clean animal flesh, though it be clean, the average length of life immediately dropped under the 200-year mark. That is what it is. That's what happened. And this evidently flesh deity was permitted in order to shorten man's life, and thus the miseries brought upon him through increased sin, and also perhaps to make it possible for him to perform the typical ceremony or ceremonial systems. Now, brothers and sisters, though that life is altogether too short and the sacrifices no longer operative, the use of the Edenic fleshless deity becomes to us in our weakened condition even more urgent. The Lord did that, and we find that the moment man started eating flesh, the moment man was permitted to eat animals, something happened. Something happened. Diseases increased. Lifespan reduced very bad. What does this mean? Or maybe a question is, why did God give man same deity after disobedience before the flood? Why? If you read Counsels for the Church, page 345, paragraph 2, God is too wise to err and too good to withhold any good thing from his saints that walk uprightly. Man is erring, and although his petitions are sent up from an honest heart, he does not always ask for the things that are good for himself or that will glorify him. We'll understand this one very well next time when we see the consequences. Because today I want to focus on the consequences much. I just want you to see the deity God gave to man after disobedience. And this deity is the deity which was good for him. But after man persisted in sin, God was forced now to destroy man. So he did something to the deity. So he's too wise to err. And because he's too wise to err, he gave man the same deity after disobedience, so that man may have the ability, even in disobedience, to fulfill the objective. When this is so, our wise and good Father hears our prayers and will answer, sometimes immediately, but he gives us the things that are for our best good and his own glory. That's what the spirit of prophecy is saying. God gives us blessings. If we could look into his plan, we would clearly see that he knows what is best for us and that our prayers are answered. Our prayers are answered. If we were to see his plan, even when man sinned, man did not see his plan. But the Lord knew his plan and he did what was best for him. As he says in Jeremiah, I know the thoughts I have for you, thoughts of peace. And it says to give you an expected ending, a good ending. God gives us blessings. If we could look into his plan, we would clearly see that he knows what is best for us and that our prayers are answered. Nothing hurtful is given, but the blessing we need in the place of something we asked for that would not be good for us, but to our head. There are people who asked for something wrong and they forced him and he gave them and they were destroyed, like in Exodus in the wilderness. But we'll see that later. So God is too wise to err. He knew what was best for man. And this thing, even in disobedience, the Lord maintaining deity for man should give you something special to think about, my brother and my sister. God did not want to destroy man easily. He was just forced. He wanted to destroy now man. And because destruction came into picture of terminating man, Then he touched the diet and he said, okay, now I allow you to eat flesh meat. I now allow you to eat animal flesh. Why? I want to destroy you. And we see, as we read, that the length of life immediately dropped under the 200-year mark. Man was now given something to disturb him. That was it. But what is so special about this deity? Because God did it twice. When he created man, we discussed yesterday that he gave him the same diet. After sin, or after disobedience, he came back the same diet. Brothers and sisters, one must realize, as we said in our previous lecture, that the human body is in some respects similar to a man-made machine. When the gas tank of an auto goes empty, the engine immediately stops. This same law operates within the human body. When the body runs out of energy, that is, maybe if it starves or runs out of calories, it stops running, it dies. And although man who made the auto can refuel its tank with fuel and put it to running again, he cannot do so with the human body. Understand this carefully. Maybe the machines we discussed last time, in case they find a challenge, in case they are destroyed, they are broken, it is possible. We go to mechanics, they do what they do, and they manage in some cases, but they can't do same with the body. No one can do that. Once the heart stops beating, at that very moment life ceases, and the body lies down until the resurrection day, until the one who created it starts it moving again. Only God has that ability of bringing back life. Or maybe if we say, when the crankcase of an engine becomes empty, but the engine continues running, then the machine breaks down and its usefulness ends. And as the life of an auto is maintained by reducing friction through means of lubrication, the life of a human being is kept up by nature's replacing the worn-out cells after the day's task is done, while he takes his rest in bed. Thus is he able to arise in the morning with renewed strength. But if you fail, my brother, to provide the material which nature needs in order to rebuild the worn-out cells and tissues, you, of course, suffers the consequences, as does the neglective person who fails to replenish the oil in his auto's crankcase. And if one fails, for example, in the case of water, you yourself, if you fail to drink enough water during the day, your blood will, as a result, become impoverished, and your system stagnant and clogged with waste material, because water is very important for your health, there to ferment and decay. And if nature is deprived of energy by which to throw off the toxins through the pores, kidneys, and the bowels, or to raise fever and endure the burning process of the wastes, then there is nothing to do but to give up trying. Disease. Brothers and sisters, it is therefore necessary that nature be well supplied with all the essentials if one expects to maintain his usefulness unimpaired, and to live his life in a well-being manner. Moreover, no good engineer puts useless or needless parts into an engine. That one, as they are in their manufacturing companies trying to do something, manufacturing or producing these things, they make sure that everything which is put in the machine has a use. And if the user of it takes out any part which was considered so special by the manufacturer, regardless of how small and insignificant, the engine is made just that much less efficient. The same is true with the human body. But though the engineer can replace the missing parts in the machine which he designed and built, I want to tell you the truth that the surgeon, the doctors, the nurses cannot replace the body organs which you as a patient may cause him to remove. Maybe he removes your eye. Maybe he removes your kidney. Maybe he removes something special. They don't have that authority to replace. If that thing is damaged, if that thing is destroyed, they just remove and find other alternatives. Not that they bring something else. For example, one may remove only a set screw from a machine and not affect its performance for the time being. But at length, as time moves, he will find that the machine fails to perform. And if he cannot replace the part which he takes or which has taken out, the machine will become altogether useless. The same thing occurs more or less when one removes an organ from his body. Let me ask you a question. When you injure yourself, you have an open wound. Do you yourself, do you have power to make sure that there is blood clotting? You sit down, you make sure that everything is okay, you work on it, you cure yourself. No. Just body systems. Even doctors don't have that ability to move cells, to move them, or move cells to move blood. No, maybe they might have systems to support, to boost, but not to do that. Only the creator of the body can do that. While plant life, this one is very important, subsists on inorganic matter, animal life subsists on organic. Moreover, as plant life was created before animal life, because they were created, the plants were created, the earth was created before animal life. The truth is that the plant kingdom can get along without the animal, but that the animal kingdom cannot get along, cannot survive without the plants. Thus it is that vegetation needs only Mother Earth, because plants were created after the earth. When the earth was created, then plants were created. Meaning or showing or teaching us that plants cannot survive without the earth, but the earth can survive without plants. But man needs both the earth and the plants, because he was created after them all. He was the last being to be created. And because he was created the last, he depends on everything which was created before him. He depends on the plants. He depends on the earth. In other words, I am saying plant life is dependent on the soil for existence, while animals or animal life is dependent on vegetation. Flesh deity is therefore, brothers and sisters, artificial and thus deficient, incapable of maintaining life. Nature teaches us. It teaches us. As long as animal life came after plants, God was sending a message on the earth that us as animals, we cannot survive without plants. But plants can survive without us. Even in our absence, they can survive. They can survive. But us, we cannot survive. This is special because it is teaching us that God is good. He is too wise to err. We are not here to survive on animal-based diet. We cannot survive on animal-based diet. That is why even after disobedience, God gave him same deity. Same deity. If you read Daniel chapter 1 verse 8 to 20, that's why being mindful of this light, Daniel refused to defile himself with the king's meat. He requested that he and his companions be given pearls or legumes for their daily food. And a 10-day trial proved their simple vegetable meals to be superior to the king's meat. Why? Man can only survive, can only reveal the glory of God, reveal his image, by depending on this deity and doing all these other requirements, keeping the law and other things. This diet is special, my brothers and sisters. It is the best diet. You may say, oh, what? You mention other foods, well and good. And those clean animals God gave, well and good, but plant-based diet, brothers and sisters, is the best diet. Is the best diet. And this is why even after disobedience, I'm repeating this, God gave man same deity because it is the best. Since we have seen that in the beginning the deity created for man's needs was flesh-free, not meat, not fish, not animals, we may with certainty conclude that health can be adequately built and far better maintained without the use of flesh. That is why some of the people, they just find this true after they are attacked by illnesses. Then the doctor says, do not feed on these things. Do not do this. History records that when man thus lived, he was able to attain super health and vigor and to endure almost 1,000 years. And rather than dying of disease, he died of good old age. In fact, even as late as Abraham, so rare was the death of persons before the death of their parents that inspiration takes occasion to record that Haran died before his father Terah. Genesis 11 verse 28. People were dying because of good old age when they were feeding on this diet. They had good health, good memory, vigor, strength, and everything. Height was okay and everything cool. If you consider the reduction of all these things, it is because of man's dependence on the deity which was not best for him. We have been degrading ourselves, going down and down and down, and diseases are everywhere, illnesses everywhere, because of our rejection of this light. Because we've become too shunt in thinking. We don't think accordingly. Even animals think better than us, because the ox, as we know, is able to maintain vigorous strength and perfect health on an average of 20% grain and 80% grass. But this one will tackle it into more details very soon in the days coming. Without the use of flesh, oxen survive. The elephant, on even less grain, maintains good health, gains gigantic strength, and reaches great age. On the other hand, the dog, though carnivorous, cannot maintain good health on flesh alone. Merely by instinct, he knows that he has to help himself to grain and to some grass too. While the herbivorous animal never even tastes flesh. Facts which prove that a balanced vegetarian diet is complete in itself. But that flesh diet is never complete alone. Animals, even dogs, you find them eating or feeding on this same grass, because they know that their carnivorous diet is not complete in itself. Even other animals, we find them doing that. Brothers and sisters, the only animal that can get by fairly well on flesh, which can survive well by eating flesh, though not altogether, is the one which eats the wool, the hide, the hair, the bones, the hoofs, the flesh, and the all. How painful the realization that through continued sin, man's God-given intelligence concerning his body's needs has degenerated lower than that of a dumb animal. Animals are able to see. The animals are seeing and are understanding what is best for their diet, while us, we are failing.
we are failing. What is wrong with us? As I conclude, I want to remind you that God maintains the deity to humankind. He maintains the deity. He gave him same deity even after sin. He introduced the deity of flesh-eating, animal-based deity, in short, after he came up with a plan of destroying man. He came up with a decision of terminating him, removing him on earth. Then he said, I will destroy man whom I have created. Brothers and sisters, take time to think about this. You might have a good deity. You might have a better deity with animal-based substances. But I want to tell you that there is a best deity for you. If you were a parent and had children, then you have two things. There is ability, you have two doors. There is ability of your child to enter a door or to go at a school where you are sure that if my child attends this school or joins this school, for sure my child will get 6 points. Will get 6 points. For sure. You are sure because of the discipline and everything there. You know that your child will get 6 points. Then there is another school where if your child goes there, he or she won't be there to get 6 points exactly. Maybe there will be challenges. The average is that he or she will get 9 points. Then there is another school. You are sure that if my child attends this one, he or she will fail. So we have to. Or maybe I add another one where if she goes there, there are many possibilities, but you are not sure. He or she might pass or not. So therefore, one, you are sure 6 points because of the discipline and everything. 2, 9 points because of everything and the average and results according to the background and history of the school. There is another one of anything can happen. He or she can pass or fail. Then there's another one of my child will surely fail. Well, this is the challenge. Which school would you take your child to? Which school? I'm sure you have an answer. You take your child to that school where she'll get best results, 6 points. The Lord is inviting us that, okay, there is flesh meat. And people might be saying, no, I don't have diseases, I don't have this. Cool. There is this diet of mixing. There is this diet of other things. But the Lord is saying there is a door open for you to get back to a deity which is best for you. 6 points. A deity which is excellent for you. A deity I gave you before sin. A deity I gave you even after disobedience. I repeated it. Then there is a deity you forced me to give you, and it has brought consequences on earth. Animal-based deity. Then he's saying, my child, please study this. Don't have excuses. I invite you to join me tomorrow. Stay with me as we understand more on this health week. Take care of your organs. Let's remember our objective, to reveal you the goodness of the Lord. And when he shall come, we shall enjoy life with him. May you choose the right deity. Pray, share, and call others to understand this. Preconceived ideas away, opinions away. I'm not attacking any of the diets, but I'm presenting what is best for you. Try by all means to focus on this diet, to depend on this diet. Then even your reasoning will be purified, because God knew. He's too wise to err. Your reasoning will be purified. It's not about what you feed your brain. Oh, I want to be studying. My brothers and sisters, sometimes if you have what you are feeding your body physically is wrong, what you feed your brain will be difficult to understand because your organs are not okay. Blood is not moving smoothly. It is not clean. You need this diet to support what you feed your brain. Then the glory of God will be revealed. God bless you, and join me tomorrow. Glory to Him.
Amen. And thank you.